There is a moment, somewhere on the road to becoming yourself, that almost no one warns you about. It does not feel like growth. It feels like loss. You did the work. You stopped shrinking. You started telling the truth in small rooms where a lie would have been easier. You set the boundary. You spoke the real opinion instead of the safe one. You finally stopped auditioning for people who were never going to hire you anyway. And some quiet part of you expected the world to clap, expected life to reward the courage. Instead, the room got quieter, the call slowed. Friendships you had filed under permanent began to cool, then drift, then end, without a single argument, without a slammed door, without anything you could point to. You became more honest, more whole, more yourself, and somehow, at the same time, more alone. And in that new quiet, a frightening question arrives, usually late at night. If becoming healthier is costing me the people I love, did I do something wrong? Did I break something that was supposed to last? Was the old me, the smaller me, actually the better me, the one who at least had company? Carl Jung spent his life studying this exact crossroads. He gave it a name. He called it individuation, the slow, lifelong work of becoming the person you actually are instead of the person you were trained to be. And he understood something the motivational world quietly leaves out. This becoming has a price, and the price is very often paid in people, not because you turned cold, not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped being convenient, and a surprising amount of what we call closeness was really built on our convenience. So before we go any further, sit with one honest question and let it be uncomfortable. Which of your relationships could actually survive the real you, fully expressed, the you with needs, with limits, with opinions you no longer soften? Hold that question gently as we walk through this together. And if this is the kind of quiet truth you come here for, take a moment to subscribe so the next reflection can find its way back to you. To understand why growth costs you people, you first have to see clearly what most of your connection was quietly built on. Jung had a word for the face we show the world. He called it the persona, from the masks that actors once wore on stage. The persona is not a lie exactly. It is a useful social skin, the version of you that is easy to be around, that says the agreeable thing, that keeps the peace, that never makes the evening awkward. We all wear one. We need one to move through the world. There is nothing wrong with having a persona. The trouble begins only when we forget we are wearing it. When the mask stops being something we hold and becomes the only self we know how to be. And here is what almost no one tells you. Most of your relationships did not form around you, they formed around your persona. People bonded with the agreeable one, the helper, the reliable one, the person who could be counted on to absorb tension and ask for nothing back. That version was genuinely lovely to be near, because it required almost nothing and gave almost everything. It was, in a sense, the perfect friend, the perfect partner, the perfect colleague. It just wasn't entirely real. Jung also gave us the language of introversion and extroversion, and he noticed that as a person matures, they often turn inward. The outer world loosens its grip, and the inner life grows loud. That inward turn is where individuation lives. But it is also where you begin to change the terms of every relationship you have. You start having needs. You start disagreeing out loud. You stop laughing at the thing that stopped being funny to you years ago. And some of the people around you feel it instantly, the way you feel a floor shift under your feet. They did not sign up for this person. They signed up for the mask, and the mask is coming off. Picture a house built around a single load-bearing wall. For years, that wall was your smallness, your endless, yes, your talent for disappearing so that everyone around you could feel a little larger. It held the whole structure up. Now pull that wall out. Some rooms simply cannot stand without it. It is not cruelty on either side. It is architecture. The relationship was quietly holding up a version of you that you can no longer afford to be. Look closely at the bonds that fall away, and you will often find they were never quite what they seemed. Many of them were agreements, unspoken ones, contracts no one ever read out loud, but both people signed. The agreement went something like this: I will stay small, and you will keep me close. I will never outshine you, and you will call me a good friend. I will carry your moods and ask for nothing back, and in return, I get to belong. For years, both people honor the contract without ever naming it. It feels like friendship. Underneath, it is an arrangement, an exchange of your self-erasure for their approval. Individuation breaks the contract. The moment you stop paying your half in disappearance, the other person feels cheated, even when they could never tell you why. Consider someone who finally gets sober after years of being the reliable drinking companion. She isn't just changing a habit, she is quietly resigning from a role in a dozen friendships that were built around that habit. Or a man who steps away from the family business he never chose to do the work he actually loves. He isn't only changing careers. He is breaking an unspoken promise to be who his family needed him to be. In both cases, the anger that comes back at them feels wildly out of proportion because the other people are not really reacting to the new choice. They are grieving the loss of an agreement that used to keep them comfortable. This is why these losses feel so confusing. There is no fight, no villain, no clean reason. Just a slow, bewildering distance that you keep replaying, searching for the mistake you must have made. But there was no mistake. There was an expiry. A relationship built on your absence cannot survive your arrival. And there is a strange grace hidden in this, if you can find it. Every bond that ends because you became honest was a bond that required your dishonesty to continue. It was, in truth, already over. You were simply the last one still paying to keep it open. When you stopped, it closed. That is not a tragedy. That is an accounting finally being told the truth. Here we have to be precise, because the loneliness of becoming yourself is a very particular kind, and misreading it is exactly what breaks people at this stage. Jung once described loneliness not as the absence of people, but as the inability to share the things that feel most important to you. Sit with that, because it turns the whole problem upside down. By his definition, you can be completely surrounded and completely starving. You can be at a full table, in a long marriage, in a circle of old friends, and feel a cold that no amount of company reaches, because the things that have come alive in you are things no one at that table can hear. You mention the question that has been keeping you up at night, the one about meaning, about honesty, about who you are becoming, and you watch it land on the table and go nowhere. So you pick it back up, put it away, and reach for the small talk, and something in you quietly closes. That is the loneliness of the threshold. It is not that you have no one, it is that you have outgrown the shared language you once had with everyone. You have started asking questions your old circle does not ask. You have begun to care about your inner life in a way that makes the old conversations feel like holding your breath underwater. You are not above these people. You are simply no longer fluent in the language that used to connect you. And this is the most misunderstood stretch of the entire journey. People feel this specific emptiness and they panic. They read it as a verdict, proof that they have made a terrible mistake, that they should hurry back, apologize for changing, and refill the room with anyone who will come and sit in it. But the emptiness is not a verdict, it is a signal. It is telling you that you have grown past the kind of connection you had, and that a truer kind has not arrived yet. You are between languages, and the space between languages is, by its nature, silent. The silence does not mean you are lost. It means you are in transit. Jung did not teach any of this from a comfortable chair. He walked straight into it, and it nearly destroyed him. In 1913, he broke with Sigmund Freud, the man who had been his closest colleague, his mentor, almost a father. The rupture cost him his professional standing, his certainty, and very nearly his sanity. The wider circle fell away with the friendship. He stepped down from his lecturing position. The sense of belonging to a movement was gone. What followed was a period he later called his confrontation with the unconscious, years of descending, more or less alone, into his own depths, recording what he found in the strange, illuminated pages that would one day become the Red Book. He was not a calm scientist observing himself from a safe distance. He was frightened. He described a time when he could not be certain he would come back at all, when the ground of his own reason felt as if it might give way beneath him. And yet he did not run from the isolation. He chose to go down into it deliberately, because he had come to believe that the only way out of that darkness was straight through the middle of it. Years later, he built a home for that solitude with his own hands, a simple stone tower at Bollingen on the upper shore of Lake Zurich. He began it in 1923 and kept adding to it, in stone, across decades of his life. He cut and set much of the stone himself. He kept the place for years without electricity and without running water, on purpose, so that nothing modern could drown out the quieter voice he had gone there to hear. He drew his own water. He lit his own fire. At Bollingen, he said, he felt most deeply himself, as though he existed there in his most essential form. Look at that carefully. What appears from the outside to be the loneliest chapter of Jung's life was in fact the most creative and the most generative. Nearly everything the world now takes from him, the shadow, the archetypes, the theory of individuation itself, grew out of the years he spent with almost no one in deliberate retreat. The solitude was not the interruption of his work. It was the soil the work grew in. He is proof of the very thing we resist believing, that the emptiest-looking season can be the one doing the deepest building. But there is a real danger in this stretch, and honesty demands that we name it plainly. Not everyone who enters the solitude of individuation comes out the other side. Many turn back, and the turning back has two familiar shapes. The first is retreat. It happens when the loneliness becomes unbearable before the new self has finished forming. The ache of the empty room is sharp, and the old mask is right there, still warm, still shaped to your face, still ready to be worn. So people put it back on. They return to the friendships that required their smallness. They swallow the opinion again. They laugh at the joke again. They pick the safe, familiar partner over the true, frightening path. They trade the pain of becoming for the comfort of belonging, and they call it being realistic, or being mature, or growing up. But somewhere inside, they know. And each time it happens, the inner light goes a little further out. The second wrong turn is bitterness. When the losses pile up, it becomes tempting to decide that people are simply shallow, that no one is worth the effort, that you are better off alone and, quietly, above them all. This one is dangerous because it feels like strength. It wears the costume of independence. But Jung was clear that genuine solitude is not contempt for people. It is the capacity to be at peace with yourself. The bitter loner has not transcended connection. He has just buried the longing for it under a story about being superior, and that story is the shadow talking, running his life from behind a curtain while he congratulates himself on not needing anyone. The way through is neither retreat nor contempt. It is patience, the willingness to stay in the uncomfortable middle, unmasked and unfinished, long enough for the real self to take shape. The people who make it through are not the strongest or the coldest. They are simply the ones who could tolerate being alone without either running home to the mask or slamming the door on the human race. They could sit in the in-between and let it do its slow work. And then, if you stay, something quietly turns. You almost never notice the day it happens. You only notice later that it has. You catch it first on an ordinary evening. You are alone. And for the first time in as long as you can remember, you are not waiting for the phone to ring to feel that the night has permission to exist. The silence, which used to feel like evidence that something was wrong with you, begins to feel instead like room, like space you get to move around in. You start to enjoy your own company. Not as a consolation prize, not as making the best of it, but genuinely, the way you would enjoy the company of someone thoughtful and kind. You begin to have a relationship with yourself that isn't an emergency. Jung had a name for a large part of this shift. He called it withdrawing your projections. For years, you had handed other people enormous power. The power to define you, to approve of you, to complete you, to tell you whether you were real. Every disappointment on their faces made you disappear a little. Every bit of approval made you briefly solid. Withdrawing the projection means simply taking that authority back. Thread by thread, you draw it home into yourself until the final word on who you are is no longer spoken by anyone but you. And here is the part people never expect. This makes you warmer, not colder. When you no longer need people to fill a void, you can finally meet them without desperation. You can love without clutching, give without keeping a secret ledger, listen without waiting for your turn. And let someone go without falling apart because your center of gravity has moved inside you where no one else's coming and going can knock it over. The day being alone stops hurting is not the day you stop loving people. It is the day you stop abandoning yourself in order to keep them. And those are two completely different things. Here is the part that makes the whole long walk worth it. Solitude, it turns out, is not the end of the story. It is the turning point in the middle of it. When you have become whole enough to be alone, you stop drawing people toward you through your smallness and start drawing them through your truth. The circle that forms on the far side of the loneliness is smaller, almost always smaller. But it is real in a way the old crowd never was. These are people who met the unmasked you and chose to stay. People who want your honest answer, not your agreeable one. People in front of whom you can be tired or wrong or uncertain and not feel the old panic that you are about to be left. Relationships where you are known and not merely surrounded. And a handful of them will be worth more than the entire crowd you lost, because for the first time, it is actually you they are close to. Because you were never really looking for people, if you are honest. You were looking to be met, and you cannot be met while you are hiding. The friendships that ended were, in the end, the price of admission to the ones that could finally reach the real you. You had to become findable, and you only became findable when you stopped performing someone easier to love. So if you are standing in the quiet right now, in the strange thinning of your life, watching people drift, replaying old conversations, wondering what on earth you did wrong, hear this clearly. You did nothing wrong. You outgrew the need to disappear in order to be loved. The empty room was never a punishment. It was space being cleared. Some of it will stay empty, and that is all right. You are learning, at last, to be at home there. And some of it is simply waiting for people who could never have found you while you were still holding the mask over your face. Becoming whole will cost you almost everyone. Jung knew that and lived it and never pretended otherwise. But almost everyone was the price of finally becoming someone real enough to be truly known, and steady enough to no longer be afraid of the silence. And a self like that is never, in the end, alone. It has simply stopped keeping the wrong company, starting with the version of itself it used to pretend to be. If this reflection named something you have been living through quietly, know this: you are not broken and you are not behind. You are simply becoming. So let me leave you with one question to carry into the week. What would you dare to say, or dare to stop pretending, if you truly believed that the right people would remain? Sit with it gently. And if these words met something real in you tonight, stay a while. Subscribe and let the next reflection find its way back to you, the same way you are finding your way back to yourself.